Hi, I'm Chris Baker with syracuse.com and the Post-Standard, here this morning at the Marriott downtown Syracuse with Mayor-elect Ben Walsh. Good morning,
Chris,
Ben.
good morning.
Ben, as most of you probably know, was elected last night as the 54th mayor of Syracuse. We're sitting down with him this morning to just ask him a few questions about what comes next and looking back on the race.
Yeah.
So I think one of the most critical things that you talked about in the election was developing relationships, obviously. And one of the most important relationships we're going to see going forward is with the governor.
Yeah.
So obviously the governor endorsed your opponent in this race. What's your plan for bringing him into the fold and going forward with him?
I'm really excited to work with the governor. He has shown a clear interest in upstate and specifically in upstate cities, and I see a great opportunity to work with him, to work together to invest in Syracuse, and really looking forward to starting to build that relationship.
Have you started already?
I have not spoken with him yet. I'm hoping to today. There's been some texts back and forth that I've seen, so I expect to talk to him. And again, I think he's already been a great ally and partner for Syracuse, but I think there's a real opportunity to take it to the next level.
Let's talk about that. So who else is on, I think I asked you this last night and you were just coming off the podium, but who else is on your list of people that you plan to speak with today, directly or indirectly?
I still haven't made a list since last time we talked, but I've been in touch with, exchanged a couple texts with Congressman Katko, with County Executive Mahoney, trying to think who else. A number of counselors. So, I want to make sure I touch base with as many leaders as I can to begin building that coalition, and also to the many people that were out there supporting me every step of the way. And what I said last night was I'm just so proud of the diverse coalition that we built during the campaign. I want to build off of that. I want to continue that right on into my time at City Hall. There's a lot of energy and excitement, and I want to keep it going.
Now, what about the people who didn't support you? There was you won 54% of the vote, but 38 or so went to your opponent, and a lot of that was Democrats.
Yeah.
What's the plan with governing a city that still is mostly made up of Democrats or Republicans, or people of one party or another?
Yeah, I made it a point last night in my comments to acknowledge the efforts of all of my opponents. I thought they all brought something unique to the table. I think they all add value to the city in their own way. I want to try to take advantage of that, and I also want to engage with those that supported them to continue to build and broaden the coalition that I talked about. I think one thing we know we all have in common is we love this city and we want to see it move forward, and so I don't care whether you supported me or not. If you want to see the city move forward, then my doors are wide open, and I look forward to working with everybody to make that happen.
All right, so let's talk about between now and January 1st, Inauguration Day. Obviously, you've got a busy couple months. What are your top priorities that you need to get done before you are sworn into office January 1st?
Well, it's really about building the team. I need to make some really important appointments as far as department heads go. I'm beginning to make that list in my mind. I want to cast a wide net, make sure we have the best people for the job. I also want to make sure that my administration is as diverse as the community that we serve. So that's right there at the top of the list. I also heard from Andrew Maxwell today, who's been working over at City Hall on the transition process, and I was really excited to hear that he has a lot of work already done, waiting and ready for me. So I'm looking forward to digging into each department and see where things stand and how we can make that transition as smooth as possible.
What kind of work?
Well, he had mentioned that he had been working with each department to prepare transition documents that we can then use going forward. So hopefully I'll be getting together with him soon and going through those and picking up where he left off.
One of the most important appointments is going to be police chief, I think. That's the one that is on a lot of people's minds. Do you have a short list?
I don't think so. No, I have some thoughts, but I've developed over the years a very good relationship with Chief Fowler. I've heard from him since the results came in last night, so I'm looking forward to reaching out to him, getting his thoughts on transition. I have a number of friends in the police department, but I also have said I want the community to be involved, but it's a really important pick that I don't take lightly. I'm going to put some real thought into it.
And stop me if you mentioned this a minute ago, but we were talking about people who you've reached out to or haven't. Have you had any conversation with Joni Mahoney, either during the campaign or now that you've been elected?
Yeah, we spoke a few times throughout the campaign, just to touch base, and we've exchanged some texts over the past 12 hours or so. We go back a long way. We have a great relationship, and I look forward to continuing to build that.
One of the things that's been talked about a lot is political parties. In fact, you ran without a political party. But we still do have these two large apparatuses, both the Republicans and the Democrats, who have leadership committees and all these different people.
Yeah.
So you're not a part of either of those, but do you plan to bring them into the fold? People like Mark English, Tom Day, the people who are the party leaders, what role are they going to play as you go forward?
Well, as I said earlier, I'm just interested in working with people that that are willing to set aside our differences and want to move this community forward. So anyone that's willing to do that, I'm happy to engage with, whether you supported me or not, whether you're involved in a party or not. That there are a lot of people involved within the both major party leadership structures that are involved because they want to see what's best for the community. And again, all of those people have a seat at my table.
Tim Canals, one of our reporters, spoke with your father last night at your event, and he said probably your biggest challenge in your first term is going to be pulling Syracuse out of the financial difficulty, the financially difficult situation that it's in. Do you agree that that's at the top? And if so, I mean, what are you going to do?
Yeah, it's significant, and we know that our current path is unsustainable. I've been in touch with the city budget director to make sure I have my head fully around the problem. As we talked about during the campaign, there's no silver bullet. There's no magic solution out there that's going to fix all of our problems. So I think we have to take steps, internally, both in terms of cost savings and generating new revenue. But also we have to rely on those relationships, some of which I have, some of which I'm looking forward to build, especially with the governor, to get help wherever we can to get us back on the right path. And then once we can put that behind us, or at least have that managed, I think it frees everyone up to begin to think more about the long term and growing our way out of this problem.
Another thing that I asked you last night, and maybe you've had a little more time to think about it, but looking back on the campaign, was there any specific moment or any kind of turning point where you said, this is really the moment that I think defines this campaign?
Yeah, I think it was a series of moments. When you look at where we started with 10 candidates, what I felt and found was that every time one of those candidates left the race, I felt like I was in a good position not only to continue to build relationships with those candidates, but also to consolidate some of their support. And so every step of the way, that happened, and I think that helped me. I also, every time somebody took a personal and professional risk and stepped out to support me in the face of pressure, whether it was from a party or otherwise, that was significant. So early on when we were able to point to Tim Carroll and Bob Andrews as the two former chairs of their respective city party committees, that got people's attention. When we held the Dems for Ben press conference and local Democrats saw that there was a number of them, there's strength and safety in numbers, and I think when that happened, that was a moment that got people excited and engaged. And we continued to build. We had the press conference with Helen Hudson and Monica Williams and Katie Sojewicz, and that was powerful. The support that followed from other leaders like Sue Boyle and Joe Driscoll, community leaders like Mary Nelson and Sharon Owens, all really significant, all helped to build that momentum, and we just peaked at the right time.
How big a get, or how big a coup was that, the event with Monica and Helen and Katie? After that, they were really front and center with you for a lot of the campaign. At your event at the Palace, they were up on stage with you. Last night, they were the people closest to you. How important was that for you?
It was huge. It was huge. And again, it wasn't just that they were there, it was the message that they sent to the entire community, that people and the city, is what's important, and we always need to choose our people and our city over our parties, and it was a powerful message. I think it resonated with a lot of people, and it also I think really gave all of us an opportunity to build on our own relationships. So I am so proud to have those three women in particular behind me, and if you look at the positions they're in, Helen, President of the Common Council, Monica on the County Ledge, and Katie on the school board, three critical institutions that I need to be able to work with to have those partners in place, I think is going to be significant for what we can accomplish going forward.
One last thing, Juanita Perez-Williams at her event last night, in an interview afterwards, implied that your campaign had run a negative campaign that she was difficult to work with. I'd like to give you a chance to respond to that.
Well, I as I've talked about from the beginning, our campaign slogan was "Rise Above," and I practiced what I preached. I think if you look at my messaging, if you look at my performance in the debates, if you looked at my comments, I always tried to take the high road, even in the face of personal attacks. It's unfortunate that that's a feeling among some people. I had a great conversation with Juanita last night. I have a lot of respect for her. Her work ethic and her drive and her passion is impressive. Her story is one that resonates with people throughout the city, and I appreciate that.
Just kind of jumping off that, Howie Hawkins in your speech last night got probably one of the rowdiest bits of applause when you mentioned him. Is there any role? Howie's mentioned that he'll probably run for governor next year. Is there any role for Howie Hawkins in a Ben Walsh administration?
It's something I would absolutely love to talk to him about, and told him that last night. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a role in the administration, but I have an immense amount of respect for Howie. I, like many others, always kind of watched him with interest and curiosity as he ran for all these different offices, including against my father. But standing next to him and sitting next to him over the course of this campaign and hearing him, his intelligence, his passion, his conviction were really inspiring to me. And as I said to him last night, I have his number and I plan to use it, and we'll see where it goes. But I have a lot of respect for Howie.
One last thing, were you surprised last night?
I felt like we were continuing to build momentum. I felt like we were peaking at the right time. I didn't allow myself to think of any scenario other than a very close race. I felt like I was in a good position to win. The numbers surprised me. When I was out in the community and talking to people, it felt like I was winning significantly, but you always worry that you're in a bubble, and that's not going to be the case. But we worked really hard to touch every part of the city, and I think that was reflected in the numbers.
All right. Very good. Ben Walsh, Mayor-elect of Syracuse.
Thank you, Syracuse. I can't wait to get started working for you.
Thank you, Ben. We'll be back live at noon with a panel of people providing analysis. Join us again then. Thank you.